Welcome back, everybody, to another Two Tamers Talk. My guy,
We're here.
Senior Jeff.
It is. Yes,
40 episodes in.
Yeah. Speaking of birthdays, guys, guess whose birthday it is today?
Oh.
Happy birthday, everybody. Wish him happy birthday in the comments. And instead of forcing everyone to listen to me singing for 2 awkward minutes, instead I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
It's your birthday.
It is my
Bandai
birthday.
says you get any one thing you want. Well, it's an alt art card or whatever.
Ooh.
What card are you picking? Putting you on the spot. We definitely
art card that I want that I don't have.
or some sort of support for a deck or something that you've just been craving.
Diaboromon X. That's easy.
That's what
Come
you
on,
want for your
Bandai.
birthday?
Yeah, that's what I want.
All right, everybody.
I need the Diaboromon
Bandai,
X.
Diaboromon X for Jesse's birthday.
It's for my birthday. We're not going to talk about how old I am. We'll just we'll let the camera.
What's older,
deal with
the episode 40 or your years?
I am not 40.
You're not 40. Okay.
That, yeah. Jeff.
Yes.
How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. It's been a good week. I feel like I've been remotivated. I've been digging through a lot of bulk. I've been reorganizing a bunch of things and kind of revisiting decks. We were just joking before we started recording that I feel like I'm a step behind because I'm diving back into BT11 decks. But at the same time, BT12 has just been fun, but it's like I've been kind of like re-inspired to grab those decks that I didn't do a good enough job last set, you know? So.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I feel
about
that
yourself?
For sure. That's kind of where I was at like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I was feeling like
I must have got it from you then.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
It's contagious.
yeah.
Because remember, I got hit by that like let's build decks bug, and then I was going through like really older stuff, and then I was realizing like, oh yeah, that could get updated with newer stuff, but not necessarily BT12 stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So it's interesting in the way that works, where it's like you want to update a deck. Like, you take some really cool cards from the newer sets, but then you realize, like, hey, I have this new deck profile, but it doesn't have anything from the new Est set.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird feeling, but...
It's okay. Well, speaking of deck profiles, you've been cruising it. You've been editing the crap out of all these deck profiles. If you guys haven't noticed, we've had another awesome video done by our good friend Ryan on the channel. Had a couple videos with Basil. I think we had Jordan's Megidramon Mill deck that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
So tons of great deck profile videos. I'm not sure of your release schedule if there's another deck profile that's dropping before we finish recording this, and this airs on a Friday. But go check those out. Let us know in the comments what you want to see. We're in deck building mood, so tell us what you want to see, and we'll start getting it built for you guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff coming out. I mean, I think we're also in a big deck building move because we're not doing our locals thing as consistent right now. We're still in between locals because our shop is still in transition. So we're still kind of like play testing when we can, with who we can. And I mean, we have such busy schedules. We don't actually get to do like some of the other locals. We haven't had time to make it to.
Yeah, we
yet.
definitely want to, but I've been definitely taking advantage of this time and just catching up, housekeeping, going through, getting rid of bulk, downsizing, organizing,
deck building.
Like it feels good. It feels like a much needed break from the grind. I do miss the weekly events.
I miss the people. I miss the community.
Dude, absolutely,
sure.
man. It sucks, man. That's what I love about Wednesday night is going hang out with all my boys and gals and whatever, and just like hanging out and playing a bunch of games, talking crap about each other's decks, and getting stomped on. So I can't wait to start doing that again.
Yeah, I mean, it'll happen sooner than later. So I'm excited because I guess as the day that this podcast airs, I'll be in Denver.
For your birthday?
For my birthday. Yeah, I'll be in Denver for my birthday, and I'm going to be playing at a locals. I already have it planned up, signed up on TCG Plus. That took me a minute to figure out.
Yeah,
that app is.
I mean, it took you long enough to figure out how to do it in our own local area.
Yeah, so I was comfortable doing that one because I just attuned to that store, trying to search for stores. Bandai, you know what? That's what I want for my birthday.
You want
Give me a better app.
You're so selfless because you really want that for everybody.
I want that for everybody because that's what everybody needs more than Diaboromon X. People need a better Bandai app.
People need a better yeah.
So I'm excited to get to kind of hang out. We had a couple people reach out from that area.
Did you really?
When I did the all call, I think probably like 6 or 7 episodes ago when we booked this trip.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I had a couple people reach out and say, hey, we have some great locals here at this particular shop in Denver, so I'm going to try and make it there. It's only 14 minutes from my Airbnb. So
I can't wait to hear about it. I can't wait to hear about the people you meet. You know, you'll bring stickers to hand out, get a bunch of people subscribed to the channel, ring the notification bell, like, comment, all that stuff.
I'm not sure how big the community is. I think when I signed up, I was one of 13 people.
That's not bad, man.
But I'm excited.
Really
like anytime I get to go meet like-minded people, I'm very.
Well, I'm curious what you're gonna see for the meta out there, right? Because I feel like Denver and Portland have a lot of good parallels where you're not gonna experience what I experienced when I went to California. So I think you're gonna experience a wide array of decks. But I could be wrong, right? I don't know what shop it is. I don't know how close you are to the city, how competitive it is, whatever. So definitely.
You also hit Cali like right before regionals.
I did, where
and
everybody
so there was
was grinding. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see what the quote unquote meta there looks like. But I'm anticipating just meeting some really cool people and having a great time. So
I think
it'll be a blast. And that'll kind of scratch that itch a little bit, and then we'll get back and we'll do some more in-house stuff.
Get some more testing done. I think we're talking about having a little bit more people involved and getting some stuff done. So, yeah, for all of our local guys watching this, man, get your decks ready. Message me. I'll screen for you. I'll be the bouncer to let you in, whether or not you can come record or not with us, and we'll get some cool deck profiles recorded for everybody to see.
Yeah, I think that's been kind of the funnest part about just this kind of break that we have in between locals, is that we've been able to kind of host a wider variety of folks over here, because our time frames are only so big. Our wives only allow us so much time to digi and do
wives
this.
and full-time jobs.
Yes, and that too. And so we've been able to kind of fill that void of time with just more creativity instead of more testing and stuff like that. So it's been definitely an adjustment, but it's still been productive,
Yeah. I have full faith that the new shop location will get set up here soon, and everything will be cruising along real quickly, and we'll be right back to business as normal before we know it.
Yeah, and in the meantime, I mean, we have definitely some crazy, we had our first, I think it's our first unicolor, maybe not our first, but first in a while, unicolor Ultimate Cup results.
The Ultimate Cup,
yeah. Do you want to jump into that?
I do. That's a great idea.
Okay, let's jump into that, because we have those right here. So this one I was really excited, right? Because
which one are we looking at first?
We're looking at let's go first place, because I think first place, second place are pretty close.
Let me zoom in on that.
Yeah, so Ulforce.
Oh, that's not that. That's not first.
Ulforce.
That is
and we're talking about Europe, right? So this is European deck list. So obviously the meta is a little bit different. Really interesting deck list, just based on the fact that. So it's a Leo Force deck, essentially. I mean, it still runs the full blocker package with 3 of the Jerrys.
I'm looking at the wrong one. Hold on.
Yeah, so we're going first place. Look on the bottom.
I don't know how to read.
Yeah. It plays the Baby Demon, so it goes power.
Yeah, and then it plays the Dracomon to complement on that.
Which is also a searcher.
Dracomon's, quick side note, this is such a nerdy thing of me. I love the Dracomon design and the fact that he's supposed to be like the original Drummon dragon species thing in the lore.
Oh,
it's such a cool design. Very well done by Bandai. Just the whole design of the actual dude of Dracomon. But not a big fan of Examon. I think Slayer Dramon should have been the top end. I think the whole rumor of the blue, green, and yellow kind of line that they originally planned got messed up, and I think that would have been better than Examon. But sorry, I just like seeing Dracmon.
No, you're fine.
I never played the Examon deck. I should, but I love the design. It's a very good design.
Well, Jacob took care of that deck.
He took care of that deck.
He's a steward of that deck for sure.
I mean, it's blue green. I don't touch those colors unless I have to, right?
Yeah. Interesting though. So obviously, it's a monocolor deck.
Yep.
There were no restrictions for any of the Ulforce cards, right?
Besides the one of Ice Wall.
If
you want to count that, right?
Yeah, if you want to count that. There were no new restrictions
in the actual Ulforce line. I knew what you meant.
No exclusive restrictions. Yeah. So looking at the rookies, pretty basic as far as like the EX1's the best one. You have the BT11, which is also really good. Runs 2 of the Warpers, so not quite the 4 of that we saw on that last list.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. A contrast between the 4 and huge difference there.
And then 2 of the Dracomon, so you get the Search. So that searches out any Drummon.
Yep. Which I don't hate, but I feel like you didn't necessarily you keep kicking my butt all day long with this O4 stuff. How often do you feel like you need to search for Drummons? Right.
I mean, it already comes with a lot of that. So I'm curious why they went with that over the BT2.
Well, I know the inheritable is something to do with drum-ons. I think it's like gain 1,000 or something.
It's more
I can't remember.
when it becomes unsuspended, gains DP.
So you would gain that power.
Yeah.
Which I guess would help, but then it's like you went so heavily into the offensive focus, whereas I feel like how you have your old force built, the strength is drawing a bunch of cards to get those tamers to.
You need a lot of pieces. You need a lot of pieces.
Absolutely.
I like the BT2 VMon, but I mean, obviously, what wins.
Yeah.
So interesting to see the 4 of Leomon, 3 Jerrys. I always liked running more Leomons than Jerrys when I did my Leo Force too.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
I ran 4 Jerrys, but I ran 6 Leos just so you typically always had that piece to play with the Jerry.
Or you doubled their numbers. Well, not the Jerry, but
yeah. Really interesting to see that they only ran 6 level 5s.
It's crazy to me, man.
With that little a draw.
All of these BT post BT, you know what, BT like 6, I'll just be old school. Ratios just blow my mind.
I don't know, especially since you're not
few level,
They're not running the Wanyamon that draws cards. They're not running the Vmon that draws cards.
I mean, I don't even see like blue memory boost, right? Or is that
they run 2 blue memory boosts right at the very end.
There it is, 2 at the end. It's not even a full 4 of.
They do run the 3 Davis, so they get a little bit of search there. So you can kind of combo the Dracomon if you do happen. That's a high roll though. If you're gonna grab a Draco and a blue.
Yeah.
But really interesting to see that they were successful with just 6 5s.
It's crazy.
Because that's always what I felt like I was bricking on when I was building these stacks, is trying to get the 5s. Yeah. Especially they're only running 2 of the V Tamers.
That's how I feel to this
cards.
day.
Yeah.
Big decks is that I brick on 5s.
Yeah.
I
mean, I guess it kind of makes sense that they're only running 2 V Tamers because they're only going to be able to draw off of that with the 4 level 4s and their 6 level 5s. Well, I mean, and their level 6s, but obviously you're already at the spot where you need to be when you're at level 6s. But they're only running the 4 of the BT11 Vidramon, so they're not going to be able to use that tie to accelerate their draw, essentially. Because once you get to the level 5, especially with the Arrow V from BT11, you're typically using that just for that Tamer search, and you're already ready to play your Ult Force when you do that. But really interesting list, and congratulations to this player. This is not a list I would have ever put together, for sure.
One thing I'm noticing about all of these Ultimate Cup lists is they're all only playing 4 eggs.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if you don't need to play 5 eggs because they're not playing against the multicolor security control, especially with like Chaos Dag being restricted.
Like monocolor is just a slower format.
Yeah. So you're okay with just running the 4 eggs. So maybe that's the format I need to start playing in more.
Yeah. Let's jump to second place. So another Ult Force list. This one is fun to me because my first Ult Force list played Tommy. And I really liked that. I remember that. Yeah. Yep. I had a lot of fun with the Tommy. I played Tommy and I played Sora and Joe for a lot of the source stripping and source control because we were in a very heavy like Mastamon format back then. And source stripping was really strong back then against Mastamon.
And you did play one of the old arenas too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just like this list does as well.
Yeah. Well, the old arenas, like it's still a decent search because it's actually pretty exclusive search because it can pull you a Vmon. Like none of the other searches in this deck can grab you an actual rookie other than the Davis and the blue memory boost, obviously.
Yep.
Everything else looks for a V Drummon, so it usually whiffs on your rookies. But this deck is really cool to me. I like this one better than the first place list just because
I did too.
It's got more techie stuff in it. I love that it still runs for the V-Tamer. I love that high-speed plug-in just in case. You can't bounce your opponent's blocker. Really, really cool.
It's crazy that they're playing 2 Siaku instead of 2 Madoki Betamon.
Interesting, too.
Right?
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. And why do you think? Why would they do that? Because that one is the reduced Digivolution cost.
So I guess it stops Digizorb.
Does that stop Red Hybrid?
It doesn't. Well,
no,
I guess
maybe?
I think it would because of the Aldamon reduce the cost by 2. I'd have to double check the wording, but I know it would stop Digizorb. Right. So it might slow down Bloomlord, but Bloomlord got hit, so I don't know how severe that was, or if this was like right before the hit.
Oh, this was June 4th, so this is post ban. So post Bloomlord to one or Bloom.
Yeah,
Glutamon,
I don't know why Siaku over. I'd have to let us know in the comments if you know why they would play Siaku over the Madoki Betamon. I feel like I'd rather stop the memory gain, but what do I know?
Interesting high roll too is the fact that they run. I would assume it's just because they run the Tommy that they run 3 Kumas instead of the Lanas.
Yeah, I think they're like leaning really heavy into that source control aspect compared to. I still think the Lanamon is a much better.
It's so much better. As soon as I switched to it, it was automatic.
Yeah. So, but speaking of your list, how many blue memory boosts are you playing in your list?
I think I went down to
right?
I think I went down to 3.
So after seeing these lists, both the first and second place that are playing 2, would you make that change go into 2 of that, or do you still like it as 3? Because I feel like I personally would like it as 3.
I like it at 3.
Right?
Because so these are also decks meant to counter other monocolor decks.
Especially
so these are a little bit
versus normal format, right?
Yeah. So the room is a lot different, right? So,
yeah.
Because in this one, like, obviously, like, there's no counter to Quartzmon in this. Like, as soon as you hit Quartzmon with this, you just lose.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't play that merciful mode that you've been really liking to get rid of.
Or Death X or anything that can, because it can't, right?
Yeah.
Can't play that stuff. So this deck just relies on being fast.
Yeah.
And it controls with the Tommy, so that's cool.
I mean,
so you get to lock
it makes
some stuff
sense,
down,
man. All Force is the fastest Royal Knight.
Is that how the lore is?
That is how the lore is. Yes, he's the fastest Royal Knight. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Fast as F boy, as they would say. They would say that he is speed.
Oh, is that how that works?
I don't know.
Does he bounce stuff?
I'm just making a bunch of meme references now.
Okay, let's jump into one of the more interesting lists. Look at this third place list, because this is going to be one that you're going to have to talk more about.
Because it's a different color.
This one is
make sure
it's
I'm
all
on the right
red.
one real quick
It's all red. It's the red Greymon Ragna deck.
Yes.
So tell me what you like about this list, because this list was one that I was like, wow.
Well, what I love, the first thing I noticed is the 4 red movement boost, right? Because it's just uber consistent. It's all about getting that search, getting the draw, and then following that up, the 12 level 3s that it's playing in the deck are literally just searching Agumons besides the Digiburst the starter deck 7, right?
Yeah.
So tons of search in the deck. You almost could argue that maybe instead of the starter deck 7 Agumon that they should have played like BT5 Agu. So it's interesting, but I think what the reason why is they wanted to pair that with the Dorbic.
Yeah.
This is clearly a Greymon list that happens to feature Dorbic as like an alternative path, right? So while you're working on your searching, your drawing, your evolution, as your hand starts filling with cards in your hand, you can drop a Dorbic when you need to.
Yeah.
You can drop a Dorbic, you can rush, you can blow things up, you can do whatever you want, et cetera, et cetera. And then what's really nice too is that all of their 6s other than Dorbic are red-black, or black-red, in this case, they're all black-red, which makes sense for the Ragna. Right?
Yep.
So now you have this Ragna package that just allows you to DNA that Dorbic, which is kind of like when EX-03 first hit and the Black War Gray list start teching in like 1 or 2 Dorbic mons, right? Now all of a sudden it's like, this is kind of dedicated. This is like a more refined version. I really like this. This is a really cool list. I might have to build this. This plays the right amount of like all these different Greymons, Metal Greymons, just getting tons of power. I mean, just going from a BT12 Metal Greymon into the BT9 Metal Greymon X antibody, giving it that security attack +1, but then it's got the inheritables to give it an additional +1, +2, DP as it swings. That's so cool to me. But
and I think the really cool thing too is that I think the ideal play here is that level 4 Flame Dramon, right?
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm pulling up Flame Dramon right now so I can try to understand.
It's the end of turn DNA. So you play the Dorbic.
DNA.
You play the Dorbic, you pass turn, but you still get to
right?
You still get to DNA.
I'm double checking the stat or the traits right now of the Flame Dramon, because now I'm like, why is the Flame Dramon in there? Because
that lets you end of turn DNA into the Ragna.
It is a Dragonkin too.
Yeah.
So when Digivolving, activate one of the effects below. You can activate one of your Digimon to level 4 purple, which you're not going to do. Obviously.
No, they're not using that aspect.
Yeah,
they're
it's
using
literally
the
inheritable, and the fact that it's a Dragonkin, so they can hard play it, tuck them underneath Dorbic, go with their other Black War Gray stack into a Ragna Lord at the end.
Finishing move. Yeah,
that's such a cool Such
Great
a cool
tech.
concept.
And to be able to do that in a quote unquote monocolor. This is the least monocolor deck I think I've seen in Ultimate Cup.
Yeah.
Because every card is a dual color, but
well, that's the problem. They gave all those War Gray stuff red black.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting to see. I almost wonder if they would have been better off, maybe doing one less Raid War Gray and going to 3 Black War Gray X antibodies. But it's so tough because you want to have different names for Dorbic.
Yeah.
And they're all Dragonkin, so they can go underneath Dorbic, which makes a lot of sense.
One thing I think that is kind of, when you look at these lists, you don't really think about it until you play against this deck, is in a monocolor format. This is a borderline security control deck. Look at how many big bodies you're going up against.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking 2, 4, 6, 9, 12K plus bodies.
So
that is
huge
in a monocolor format, like as an Ulforce player. Like so you're swinging for 12K most times.
So then that Ulforce deck, that one, because they had all the inheritables to give them extra power.
Yeah.
Like the Baby Namon.
Yes.
And
I think that's why they ran it, because you're seeing decks like this, you got to be 13K just to essentially survive.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, like Bloomlord decks, they don't, when they swing, they're not swinging for big DP. They're around 11 or 12 typically, right?
I think this is my favorite deck that I think we've ever featured for as far as our regional Ultimate Cup stuff.
So that's
their
successful.
Ratios are so good. I mean, like, I'm a fan of a little bit more level 3s, but with mulligans, I understand going to 12. But then if you follow it up, 11 level 4s. I love that number. That's my happy number. And then it's 9 level 5s. Another one of my happy numbers for level 5s.
And 4 of those are X antibodies.
And 4 of those are X antibodies, so you can take advantage of being able to digivolve. And then 4 red memory boosts. Like, what more could I ask for? I think for your birthday, I got my next new deck that I'm going to build. So I'm pretty excited to build this.
It looks really cool.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it. All right. And then 4th place, we'll give an honorable mention to your favorite, Red Hybrids.
I don't have anything against this deck. I promise.
It was just funny watching the comments.
It was.
The comments in the last
not only that, thank you guys, everybody who contributed and jumped in and talked about in the comments.
Great
feedback, especially those that talked about like why where Garurumon was getting hit with all the ace stuff coming out. That makes a lot of sense, a lot of insight that I kind of wish we would have taken advantage of and talked about. And then especially those that jumped in. I think there was one comment in particular that I loved. So keep that up, where it's like, I agree with everything with Jeff is saying up until this point.
Yeah.
I love that. Keep that going. I want you guys to agree or disagree with me, whatever. I love the communication. And I apologize that I have not been as active on the YouTube comments as I used to be.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. I started another project in life, and I think that's taken up too much time. So I'll eventually get my balance right and start responding more. But Red Hybrids, man.
What do you think about the ratios on this? I love it.
It's
not as 4, 4, 4, and 4 as the other ones. Because remember the last one we looked at didn't even have a bottom row.
But there's
it was literally
bottom row.
It was literally just the whole top row was all 4s.
Yeah. So I think what they really decided to do was just add a little bit more on the lower end, add a little bit more level 3s, add a little bit more level 4s. I still think I like the other list more.
Well, that was a regional, so they were able to add
Boko. That's what it was. So without the Boko, yeah. So without the Boko, it makes sense to have a little bit more.
Slows it down a little bit.
Does slow it down just a tiny bit. Where you, instead of losing on turn 2, you lose on turn 3.
Well, I mean, it's enough to take that almost exact list down from winners to a top 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But it's crazy to see the comeback of Gravity Crush. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was just cards in BT1 that I never once thought would make a comeback, and Gravity Crush was one of them.
Yeah.
Right? Because it just reminds me of back in the day of BT1 when everybody thought they were so cool, teching in the BT1 Metal Greymon, BT1 Wargarurumon, the BT1 Yellow, the Chironmon. It's Kentorusmon's level 5 in yellow, and then there was even the green Digitamamon. They all have the ability, when attacking, gain 3 memory, end of turn, lose 3 memory.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like 6K or 7K bodies, and a lot of people were starting to get spicy adding in that to gain extra memory and stuff like that. So I just remember seeing all this stuff and kind of having a bad experience trying it with gaining all that memory just to lose it at the end. So to watch Gravity Crush and Blinding Ray make this huge comeback is so interesting.
Well, there's so many ways to just win in one turn now.
Yeah.
It's like there's no risk.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? If I'm going to win this turn anyways, I might as well Gravity Crush, and just who cares if I give them memory? They're not going to get it anyways if I win.
It's interesting though. My favorite part about it is that it's interesting to go from these formats where when you swing into security, something always happens. Either it battles and it wins or it dies. You know, you're always like 4K, okay, cool, 6K, 8K, whatever. Or it's like goes to hand or deletes the body or does something. And
plays a tamer.
I think for like the first 2 or 3 weeks, people were playing Gravity Crushes and Blinding Rays and stuff. You're like, you would swing and be like, okay, Gravity Crush, nothing happens. And you're like, you mean nothing?
Like nothing.
Like there were like the newer players, their eyes would just be like, what do you mean nothing?
You didn't get any benefit. You didn't get a tamer.
There was literally
on the field.
just a dash. It's just a null effect. Instead, like they could have easily printed on the card, nothing happens or something. But it's like, it really caught some people out of nowhere when they started seeing these BT1 cards that other people, like newer players, had never seen, and they're just like, okay, swing, Gravity, nothing. And they're like, well, it can't just be nothing. You're like, no, it's literally nothing.
Yeah, because you're used to like hidden potential discovered, which is the common one you see.
Yeah, it goes to hand, lose a memory, you know.
Something like, yep.
No, but there was a very interesting period of time. I think up until BT5, I think we have, because Blinding Ray was BT4.
Yeah.
I think after BT5, I don't think there's been a null security effect card.
I think you're right. I think you're right, but it's just crazy to think
Correct
about
us in the comments, but I don't think after BT5 there's it's always done something.
It's always done something security. Have some potential risk other than just hitting a dead card.
But just to have that whole box blank with a little dash in it, you're just like, did they forget something? Like, what's going on?
Well, it's like crazy back in BT1 that, I mean, it makes sense. Back in BT1, no security effects had gain memory. It wasn't until BT2. Well, I guess if you hit Hammer Spark and Security, which that was in the blue starter deck, so ST2.
It was a blue exclusive.
So that was before BT1, but it wasn't until BT2 when you would hit Darkness Claw that was gain 2 memory and security, right? And nobody played Darkness Claw really back in the day. The fact that Gravity Crush had nothing, like not even add to hand.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay.
That's what it does, but now we're starting to see it in almost every red deck. I mean, that's what inspired me to build the red ST1 War Gray, and then I didn't.
And then you didn't use Gravity Crush, so it's
It didn't need it. It didn't need it to win in one turn.
Yep. Very few decks I feel like need Gravity Crush, right?
Yeah, but I mean, our local Red Hybrids player, his deck got infinitely better when he put it in, because that deck just rushes and does all the stuff that it does so fast, and that's why you're starting to see it really, really successful in these, and I think its time is due for sure.
Yeah, to get hit or something. Is that what you're saying?
No, you keep talking about it getting hit.
That's what the fans want. The fans want the controversy and the content.
There's no controversy.
We got to talk about hitting cards left and right and banning everything in the game and making sure the only thing you can do is play Agumon.
The best part is like just being in the U.S. format. It's like we get to see the future, and it's like they haven't given us any more Red Hybrid support in the next 3 or 4 sets, right?
Yes.
There's no more Takados.
But also
or
contradictory to your point, we get to see in the future as far as Japan goes, but Japan plays completely different lists than we play.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I love how different the meta becomes between overseas and where we're at, because you think, okay, Red Hybrids I knew was going to be strong, but I think it was going to be a top tier deck, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh man, it's dominating. So maybe just people in Japan don't have any BT1 cards anymore. Maybe they just have a really efficient,
or maybe they were all magazine
program.
promos they didn't get.
Yeah, Gravity Crush being a magazine.
My biggest thing that I'm looking forward to is EX-04.
Yeah,
because talking about Japan having a whole different format and stuff, Japan didn't have the ban list that we have now when they went into EX-04. So
you're absolutely right.
It is going to be a completely different ball game for us going into EX-04 than they did, 6 or 7 months ago when they got EX-04?
Yeah.
Because we have a lot more restrictions than they did. So I'm really excited to see how this whole new thing shakes up. And that comes out here in a couple weeks. I know I'm excited about it. I guess I'm borderline excited about it because this deck, I know if you're talking about, friends of the channel and everyone that contributes and stuff, this is more exciting for them than it is for me, just because it doesn't provide a lot of stuff to the decks that I play already. But as far as Sakuyamon players, They get new pieces.
Yeah, but I feel like Sakuyamon players aren't even going to use these pieces. Like, yeah,
maybe?
they're going to update it if it's their favorite, but I don't think any of these Sakuya pieces are really going to make any waves. Like, it's cool, and I would love to be proven wrong, don't get me wrong. But
I want to see the new waves to be made, though, because I think a lot of the waves were not made because Beelzemon was still such an asshole
that's a good point.
in
That's
Japan.
a good point. Okay.
You know, there's
So it's like, what's the
there's-
point of doing anything if Beelzemon was going to win?
Yes.
I see what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, there's a lot more room now for people to kind of play and experiment with these decks that are about to
Yeah.
get new pieces. I mean, Galamon gets new pieces. You get your Ravemon stuff,
Oh,
right?
yeah, that I've been asking for a year now.
Yeah.
You
I
can
mean,
go back to like episode, what'd you say, 3 or 4 or something like that?
It's within the first
It's
probably
like
15.
within the first
yeah.
15 episodes, I was
Yeah.
talking about how I want Ravemon and Ravemon Burst Mode.
I remember because I was trying to
Because you
find
were trying to
pictures
find
of
the
it.
pictures,
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah.
"What the hell are you?" Yeah.
Yeah. And now there's a
And
whole archetype
it
for
came.
it. Yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah.
Ravemon's gonna be fun. So, no, I mean EX-04 is gonna be a crazy set. I mean, I'm always excited when new Digimon cards get dropped because I get to update my favorite franchise and all of the cool pieces of it, and I get to add to my little binder and be able to reference all these cool things for sure. But they really are doing a good job of adding new stuff to multiple decks, right? Like we were just talking about the Shadow Seraphimon. That just adds so much to security control players, to yellow players. A lot of people, I think, are going to be jumping on the yellow bandwagon because of that card. Very strong. It adds whole new stuff to green, which I really like the direction that Bandai has put green with Alliance. But then we were just talking, they're not giving any future support for this.
Yeah, let's jump into Alliance because I think this is one of the... I mean, obviously, being a Digimon podcast, we need to talk about new mechanics, right?
We
so
do,
let's
we
jump
do.
into...
So
actually, just today,
Yep.
Digimon released like a full kind of like
Yeah, it was
structured FAQ on this new Alliance thing coming up because it's coming in a couple weeks. So I think it's really cool that Digimon or Bandai does that. Like they're like, hey, you got a new keyword coming out because they haven't done that previously, essentially, right?
Since
They're just
Raid.
like figure it out since Raid, yeah. They're like, hey, you guys need to know how this works. These are commonly asked questions. We've already done this in Japan for months and months and months.
Yep.
So
another benefit for us being a little bit behind, and
Yeah.
I'm all for us staying at the same pace.
here's all the
we're at.
common questions. Let's
Yeah.
just iron this out. So we'll just jump into the first one. Easy. Are the DP and security attack +1 gain from Alliance effect lost when the attack ends? Yes. So it's not until the end of your opponent's turn or anything. It's literally end of your attack. All that stuff drops off.
Yeah, so let's talk about what Alliance is. Alliance is a keyword on a particular card.
Yep.
In this case, a lot of the level 4s have it.
All
level
green.
5s, level 6s have it. Right now it's exclusive to green, which is cool. Again, Bandai likes to, in my opinion, experiment with green and then give it better to other colors later.
So you're saying in like 4 sets, they're just going to restrict all these Alliance cards to
In
one?
4 sets, they're going to restrict all these, and then black and red will have a way stronger version of it anyways, or whatever. But for those of you that love Green Rabbits or the Terriermon, a lot of loyal Terriermon fans out here, you get every possible evolution change, basically, besides his random armor forms or whatever, where you get the Lopmon, the Turrymon, the Wendigomon, the Black Gargomon. I love the whole Black Mega Gargomon, Cherubimon, all that cool stuff, all the cool for the Wabbit season. Maybe that's what we should call it, Wabbit season for EX-04.
EX-04. That should have been the name of the set.
Wabbit season. It's just like Elmer Fudd, like looking around a tree. Okay, whatever. Anyways, so for example, let's talk about the Turrymon and the Wendigomon, right? So they're level 4s on the field. They have the Alliance keyword, which strictly means when attacking, you can go ahead and suspend another Digimon of your own, and then you add that DP to the attack, right? Just like you said, just for that one attack, and then you get security attack +1 as well.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool mechanic. I'm really excited about it. It's going to see how much it plays suspending your own bodies. I know I personally got burnt by that in a pre-release with the BT10 where I was suspending my own stuff just to have them all get deleted later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting mechanic. I'm pretty excited to see it and stuff. So let's go to question 2, right? If a Digimon has DP that's altered from its original value by an effect, and then it's suspended by Alliance, is the gain DP the value after it was altered, or the value of this Digimon DP? So
The altered DP.
Yeah, it's the altered DP. So basically, it
doesn't negate things that happened beforehand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's not going to be like, okay, well, I gave it minus 3K DP, and now it's all of a sudden just going to ignore that, right?
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Yeah, but it's still going to go ahead and do that.
Yeah. I think a good combo that people are going to play this with is that Palmumon. You know, the
Makes
one
a
that,
lot of sense. Yeah.
I think it gains memory when you suspend it by your own effects.
Well,
or
there's
something like
there's a Palmumon that when you suspend it, you can suspend one of your opponent's Digimon.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one, so it's going to be cool. I mean, it's only 2 to 3K DP, right? But imagine suspending a Mother Deep Reaper that came out of Raising Area.
No,
I got a
'cause it
couple
doesn't-
deck.
yeah.
I got a couple deck lists brewing in my mind, thinking about the fact where I can have a 4K level 4 suspend a 15K Mother, hit 19K security attack +1. That's gonna be stupid, guys. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. All right. Question 3: when my Digimon was suspended by Alliance, then it was deleted by an effect during the battle. Is the DP gained from the Alliance lost? No. After Alliance activate, the gain DP isn't lost or altered, even if the Digimon is suspended. Is removed from battle or the DP is altered.
So this one kind of confused me for a little bit. Like, why would somebody be asking that?
Yeah.
And what I was kind of thinking was Black or Gray, where it redirects the Digimon with the highest DP.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of what my thought process is. Someone who's asking that because they swung, they had a huge level 4, 5, 6, whatever with Alliance, and then it dies. So then does that mean, well, Black or Gray didn't redirect that attack? Now it's redirecting the second highest out on the field or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of why someone would ask that, because that was kind of an interesting question.
Yeah. Question 4: my Digimon with Alliance and Piercing attacked, because Piercing is another huge thing in green, attacked my opponent's Digimon, and my Digimon is deleted the opponent's Digimon and survived in battle. What happens to the DP and security attack? Of course it continues.
Yep.
Another gimme, right?
Yep. But, just good question to ask,
Yeah.
Question 5: can my Digimon with a cannot be suspended by effect be suspended by Alliance? The answer is no. It cannot. If you have a Digimon that cannot be suspended by effects, so we were just talking about the Mother earlier, that cannot be affected by your opponent's effects.
Can be affected
You
by your
can
own.
delete your own Mother. You can do whatever you want to your own Mother. No, so in that case, right. It's interesting how that rules for sure.
And then if I attack a player using a Digimon that has 0 security checks due to a security check minus, then my Digimon gains security check +1. Can it perform a security check? Yeah, that's all basic Digimon mechanics.
Yeah,
That's
so basic
literally
Digimon
just-
mechanics
you're
for
just-
those of you
you're
who
just
don't know.
counterweighing it.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, basic security Digimon, think of every single Digimon card having a base security attack of 1.
Yeah.
Right? And
Not
then if you
+1.
Not +1, just
1.
a generic value of 1.
Yeah.
And then that means when you swing, you hit 1 security check. In order to win the game, you do have to have a security attack value of 1.
Yeah.
Right? You can't swing with security attack minus and win the game.
Yep.
You have to have at least 1. So then when you add a security attack +1, then, and I will say for new players in the beginning of the game, when I teach people this game, this can be a little bit confusing at first, just because, you think, oh, security attack +1, that just means I add a little bit more,
Yeah.
It's not always what it means, especially when you have the security attack minus. But yeah, no, so it's still affected, you gain security attack +1 from Alliance, and then that would, like Venusmon, if it gave a security attack minus or whatever, yeah.
All right. That is our
Let us know in the
analysis
comments, man.
of
What do
Alliance,
you guys want to see? Like the fact that they gave us a really cool Wendigo. Pretty excited about that. I've always been a Wendigo fan. Just such a unique Digimon. The whole rabbits thing is gonna be really cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like this is enough to make up for how hard they hit green in the restrictions that we talked about last week? Or do you think that it's not? Or do you think because, like you said, Beelzemon being restricted kind of slowed down a little bit, now these green decks do have a chance to shine? So very curious to see what you guys think in the comments. So thank you.
I have a borderline controversial question to ask you that we haven't talked about.
Put me on the spot too. I love
All
it.
right.
I do that to you all the time, though.
I
Don't
know. Let's talk about green.
Okay.
Right? It's because we talked about it last week.
Talk
about
about green,
Bandai
green.
hating green, right?
Yep.
Do you think that piercing to win could be something they could change in the rules to make it fair for green?
That's a great question.
Because you would still need 0 security.
Yep.
So
So you're talking
you would
about
still
they have a
to
blocker.
do the work.
They have a blocker. I have piercing. I'm going to pierce through and win the game. I think that is a first of all, great question. Seriously, great question. I do think that is an issue that because people ask all the time, what does that mean, right? If I have piercing,
and I'm not talking about if they have security tech +3.
Yeah, you're
they
talking,
have 2. I'm talking about they have no security.
You're talking about they have 0 security.
Fresh swing.
They have a blocker on the field, and you are swinging for game. They decide to block it. You're gonna pierce through.
Yeah.
The way piercing is described, I would answer yes. They should be able to win. Because of that.
Because you have to survive.
Right? Because you would have to survive the battle. It would go through, and then it would, quote-unquote, pierce.
Yes.
Right? It would literally, like, imagine a shield. And you're piercing through that shield, and you're getting to the opponent. That's exactly how I think of piercing.
They're dying. You're living.
Exactly. Yeah. So it would go through, but I think Bandai made the right call with the way they designed the game. Yeah. That you still have to be able to do a direct attack on the player.
Yeah.
And piercing cannot substitute that or whatever. I do like that they gave green a lot of piercing. I do think piercing is a cool mechanic. We were talking about last week about green stomp, about green having that ability to be able to like be these big dragons, dinosaurs, insects. I think that's exactly what I said in that order. Let me know if I'm wrong. But give them more piercing, give them more DP, give like higher DP, quicker evos, etc. to green to have these powerful bodies. But no, I don't think they should change piercing, to answer your question.
Okay.
I think if they change piercing, there's too many cards in other colors, like Machine Ramon, black, right? Gets a lot of piercing if you want to use inheritables. Wargrey, you can give Wargrey piercing really easy, right?
Right, especially, there's too many colors.
Right, there's too many colors that have piercing. Like maybe if they were like found some way to give green that edge specifically, sure, but I don't think they can give piercing and make it so if you pierce through a blocker, you win that way.
I think my mind just went back to because I think we talked about it back like years ago, like BT4, BT5, because remember they gave us the Chaos Dramon?
Yeah.
That could, swing, attack an opponent's Digimon, pierce, but it couldn't win the game. Right?
Yeah,
and that was what BT4. Yeah. And then all of a sudden in BT5 they give us the Blitz Omni.
Yeah.
That unsuspends and then swings for game, and you're like, how is that fair? Red got the actual card that green wanted, right? Because the Chaosmon was good.
Yeah, Chaosmon
but you couldn't
awesome.
finish a game with it.
Nope.
But Blitz Omni, we're still finishing games with Blitz Omni. It's still still a verb, right? Like,
I think that they need to give some sort of blitz effect like that to every color.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's only fair at this point that red and blue have Blitz Omni, but green, yellow, black, purple. Well, maybe not purple. Purple doesn't need it. They're already too strong with the Beelzemon stuff. But give it to green. Give it to yellow, man. Like, let them have a blitz for game.
Finishing move that's not a hybrid.
Yeah, that's not a hybrid. It's kind of unfair in that regards, especially like you said. That's a great point. There was so much confusion about Chaosmon because there was no keyword on it, right? This was before Blitz was a keyword printed on cards. It was like, oh, you can attack, but you can only attack on your opponent's Digimon. You know what I'm saying?
And you could pierce, and you could do checks.
Like, to this day, BT12 BT12 Dino B has that like same effect, almost verbatim written on it as well, where it can attack a Digimon, right? But it can't swing for game.
Yeah.
So.
All right, man. It's been an interesting week because you've been doing a lot of building. I've been doing some. I've been doing some testing and stuff.
Yeah.
We have some interesting cards of the week choices because we haven't been at locals this week. We've just been kind of testing with each other a little bit. You've been deck building like crazy. So
I know, I'm excited.
I definitely went first last week.
You definitely did. I
checked the footage, so I'm going to make sure this guy goes first this week.
All right, guys.
Why don't you tell me what you got?
My card of the week is Venmon. The only Venmon in the game. So Digimon World 3 fans
coming?
Rejoice. Nobody saw this coming. I myself didn't see this coming until I was sitting here at this chair thinking about it. So I've been building Galactimon because, like I said, I've been feeling about a set behind where I'm going through and doing justice to the BT11 decks, and I'm kind of putting in the work and going through and building those things. And just searching for Venmons is kind of a pain, especially the foil ones, because I want them all pretty and shiny because the rest of my deck is. And it's like I'm buying one here on TCG Player, and then they're all sold out. And I'm buying one more the next day when somebody posts a foil Venmon. So it's been kind of a fun little journey. But the whole Galactimon deck is such a cool archetype, a really fun deck. I love specific card games where they have one card or two cards, three cards in this case, because we have Eosmon, ADR02, I think is the number. Correct me if I'm wrong. Searcher, and now Venmon that you can have up to 50 in a deck, right? So I like these alternative play styles for sure. Galactimon's a lot of fun. I haven't quite figured out how to make it more than just basic Galactimon. I think we were talking about the promo Destromon, level 5 that's coming out. It's going to be interesting to see that for sure. But no, Galactimon, man. Venmon's a great card. Main, suspend it, do some surge, tuck some things. It's a really interesting play style. That's my card of the week.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't played against a Galactimon deck, and there's a lot of people that didn't, because a lot of people didn't pick that deck up and put it together.
Yeah. It is a cheap deck if you don't foil out your Venmons.
Yeah, really kind of menacing to play against. It almost feels like you're playing against Eosmon, because if you brick, they're 2 steps ahead of you, because it's not a tier 0 deck, brick. But it is a consistent deck because there is no way to brick.
I mean, if you're playing 25 level 3s with all the exact same card, how are you going to break?
You're not. And then you hit Pride Memory Boost, and you're able to play them for free and get the memory. Like, you just stack that, and eventually the hourglass turns over. You know, it's scary. Mine is going to be kind of a throwback to last week where we talked about that ST1 War Gray list. And if you guys haven't checked out the list on the channel, it's a lot of fun. I guarantee it. It's fun. There's some things you can sub out in there. One fun thing that is good to sub out is that Metal Greymon for the new one. Feel free to check that out. But one thing that I'm not going to sub out is the Metal Gray X.
Ooh, I love that card.
That card, the BT9 Metal Gray X, Digivolves for 0, gains security attack, plus 3 KDP.
Yep.
And what solidified that as my choice today was the fact that I play that in my War Gray deck, and then I was playing against your Blue Flare deck.
Yeah, I was bringing
not
back
on the
Blue
channel
Flare.
yet. Oh man, that thing is menacing in Blue Flare too.
Yeah.
You get those extra checks. You still Digivolve for 0, even though you're switching entire colors. It's crazy. And it's so strong. It just turns into this beefy like 11K without any inheritables. Security attack +1, level 5, the Digivolves for 0.
I just remember playing in BT9 where it felt like we started the overrun of War Gray stuff, especially War Gray X Antimony. And then all of a sudden that card comes out. That's the card you hate almost more than the entire deck because it gets plus 3K and security attack +1. It's not one or the other. It's both. So
people look over it because it doesn't have an inheritable, but it doesn't need one.
Yep. And I personally have been really loving it in Blue Flare too. I know you just mentioned that deck. So that's kind of... You and I were both on the same page, and I changed mine right before I came over here to Venmon because I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about my fun journey to buy Venmons. But no, dude, that War Gray X Antibody is a menace. It is a terrifying card. It is, honestly, I would love to see a good alt art of that. Yeah. Because we need something a little bit prettier, especially because it's a Greymon, and Bandai loves Greymons anyways. So
we'll get it eventually.
We'll get something crazy eventually, I'm sure.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for episode number 40.
Yeah, jump in the comments. Wish Jesse a happy birthday, of course. Let us know if you are in Denver so you can come hit him up. Or if you're somehow in the state of Colorado, drive all the way out to Denver, however far away you are. Come get a free sticker from Jesse and play against his decks and come shoot the crap. And always like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell, all the generic YouTube stuff. It's been a pleasure, man. Thank you for having me again to do this.
Dude, thanks for joining me. It's been great, guys. We have more great deck profile videos ahead. I think I have like 6 or 7 still waiting to post. So
I love feeling
tuned.
this backlogged on this deck content. So we have deck profiles still waiting to go every other day, guys.
So make sure you guys stay tuned. They're dropping every other day, if not every day. So we've got more great content coming for you guys. And like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.